I said sadly and dragged my feet back to the classroom. After that scene, my upcoming conversation with Mrs. Winters was probably literally life-threatening. That's probably why Mrs. Winters is on about this shit too. Because she's got to have some idea. And she knows that he's, in bed with the Japanese intelligence essentially because of, his relationship with the daughter. Damn, Mrs. Winters may not be as much of a cunt as we thought. She may be misinformed, but not nearly as bad as we thought. Like I'm saying, this is all playing off if that hypothetical is true. I'm going to keep playing like it isn't. But if it does come to be true, if I was right, you already know. Catherine's word had been enough for her to come to my place and start threatening me. I didn't even want to imagine what she would do now, after her daughter had this kind of an outburst. And most importantly, Katya sincerely believed that I was guilty of something. Something that couldn't be forgiven. And the last straw for her was what Himitsu did yesterday at the school gate. Grabbed at me, showing that I was hers, and Catherine had to keep her hands off. Was it jealousy? That's the thing, it's gotta be a bit more than that. There's gotta be more to it than that. Everything could be easily explained by banal jealousy. But not in Catherine's case. There's something else. Something she believed completely without even a shade of doubt. Maybe if I had given her more of my attention. But now I was with Himitsu, so it was pointless to even think about that. They're not going to tell me in this route, are they? They're not going to tell me in this route, are they? But when I play Catherine's route, I might have to save Ellie for the end. I might have to save Ellie for last. I was thinking about saving Catherine for last, right? Because she was the character I just didn't care about. Oh boy. If my worries are not alleviated by the time I finish this route, Catherine's next. I'm telling you right now, because I need answers. I need answers. I need to know what Himitsu's big sin was. What she did to fucking totally piss off Catherine like that. It's one thing to steal her man, alright? That's something. But I feel like it's got to be something big, right? Something much bigger. It's not the fact that she was trying to take her man. She welcomed the competition, right? Go ahead and try. It's the fact that Himitsu did something major. Did something, totally fucking outside the scope of what Catherine could have imagined, just to get a chance at this guy. And it's got to be something like that. It's got to be. I don't want to be right, but if I'm right, it just makes too much sense, though. My mood was ruined. When I thought it couldn't get worse, Ryunosuke-san, Mrs. Winters, Irina, and now Catherine, too. I'd have to tell Himitsu about our talk. She'd find out about it sooner or later anyway. In the school, rumors spread fast. Yeah, confront Himitsu. Confront her. Be like, hey, Catherine mentioned this, and Himitsu's gonna be like, oh, you're just gonna believe her then? Just gonna believe her then? Huh? You're just gonna believe her? Listen. Alright? That's when you hit her with that. Listen, I love you, right? But I know Catherine well enough to know that she ain't just talking out of her ass. Alright, so what went down? You say you love me. You say you don't want us to hide anything from each other. Alright, open up. Be honest with me. Tell me what went down. I'm gonna need that kind of honesty. I'm gonna need it. Expeditiously. Should never think things can't get worse. What do you mean? I didn't have a bento today. We were sitting in the canteen eating oversalted udon. I mean, sometimes it seems that this is it. You've reached the bottom, and when it does, someone will knock from below. What do you mean, knock from below? How can they if it's the bottom? Oh. It seemed I'd picked up the habit of sighing all the time from someone, with and without reason. Although, unfortunately, I had more than enough reasons recently. So, we never talked. Are you and Himitsu-chan together now? I mean, officially? Why do you want to know? Well, I'm your friend, and friends don't hide these things from each other. I wonder if anybody had ever told him that the way he smiles sometimes makes people want to stand up and leave. But what difference did it make now? Couldn't be any worse. After all, Kyosuke couldn't change my situation anyway, and he had helped me a lot before. Well, you could say we are. And? He started whispering conspiratorially and leaned closer, putting his belly on the table. You've already done the thing, right? You know. Enough! I stopped him short and stood up. My bowl of cold udon was almost full. My classmates kept throwing wary glances at me all the way until the end of the school day. Japanese have this special look. Like, we don't mean anything bad and won't say it to your face, but we've heard that you're an antisocial person and we're non-verbally letting you know just that. And I wouldn't even care much, but when the majority of the class behaves this way, it starts to feel outright nasty. It was like torture by collective silent condemnation. I wasn't really well integrated into any Japanese social structures, but I had lived by the society's norms and rules for a decade. However, now I had Himitsu, then these trifles meant much less to me. Class was over. I walked down the stairs, changed my shoes, and began to wait.
Nikolai.
Himitsu fluttered out of the school like a dove from its cage, giving me a special smile I'd never seen before. You're shining like a penny.
Just enjoying the good weather, and happy that class is over, and then we're going home together.
Yeah, I barely sat until the end. I'm really hungry.
Have you had lunch?
I have. Well, tried to, but the cooks get a big fat F for me today.
Nikolai?
Himitsu's eyes went round.
Sorry for not making you bento today.
The only thing missing was a ground-deep bow. I smirked in good nature. Come on, it's alright.
I'll definitely make you one tomorrow.
Sure. All the way home, Himitsu talked about the school festival that was just around the corner. As for me, the closer we came to my place, the more nervous I became. Ryunosuke-san was supposed to talk to me after school, which meant right now. But not while Himitsu was around. I decided to drop by my house first. Alright, so I stopped at my gate.
Are you going to tell me you're busy again?
She squinted slyly. And you aren't?
Well,
She thought for a moment.
nothing urgent. Besides, I need to make some food for you first.
She got me. And I'd cornered myself too. Yeah, but let's meet in half an hour. My stomach isn't feeling well after that udon. I smiled apologetically.
Boo, fine.
She smiled merrily and ran to her house. Seemed like I had dodged a bullet. I slowly walked into the yard, stepped onto the porch, and grabbed the doorknob. I immediately realized something was wrong. It happens. If you live in the same house your entire life, any small difference, sometimes even some sort of unconscious premonition, can be enough to realize that something is wrong. There was someone inside. Mrs. Winters? It was too early for her. Irina? If so, her visit meant nothing good. Something was pulled away like a doll on an invisible thread. I couldn't go in under any circumstance, even on fear of death. I returned to the street and stopped, hesitating. The only sensible course of action was to go get Ryunosuke-san. But Himitsu was there. Did I really have a choice, though? Even if she got to know the whole truth, would it make things worse for anyone? Worse than now? The bell at Ito's house sounded like it came right out of a Disney cartoon. Like the door was about to be answered by Snow White and the Seven Dwarves. Even though the Snow White part wasn't that hard to believe, she also lived together with the evil king.
Nikolai?
Contrary to expectations, Himitsu opened the door.
Did something happen?
She seemed to have guessed. No. Yes. I need to talk to your father.
About what?
Can you call him? Himitsu frowned.
Nikolai, something's wrong. It's written on your face.
Nikolai. Ryunosuke-san appeared in the hallway. It's okay. We're just going to talk. Go. He told his daughter.
But Dad...
Go. He said in a firmer tone. Himitsu's expression darkened and she left, giving me an angry look. My father and I walked into the yard. He waited a minute to ensure that nobody was eavesdropping on us. You look scared. Yes, and I have reason. I'm sure there's someone in my house. Maybe Catherine's mother, maybe the KGB, who the hell knows? Did you see them? No, but it's clear anyway. Oh, Nikolai. It's always something with you. With me? Is it my fault? If it was up to me, you promised to help me. I didn't promise anything. I'm tired of beating around the bush. When you give me your parents' documents, you will get protection. What? I understood each of his words separately, but my brain was resolutely refusing to put them together. Ryunosuke-san, I don't understand. As you can see, everybody needs those documents, and without them we can't break this stalemate. But I don't have them! God damn it, how many times do I have to say it? Nikolai, you shouting won't help the situation. I was such an idiot. Finally, everything became crystal clear. So this was your plan from the very beginning. To use Himitsu one way or the other. Did you think I would just give Himitsu to you? Huh! With you is where she's in the most danger. You're a monster. Documents, Nikolai. I never believed you don't have them. Torture me if you will. Except that now I really had them. You're the devil incarnate. Himitsu can't stay with you in the same house a second longer. I was muttering and staggered to the door. Where do you think you're going? I tried to grab him by the arm, but in the same moment the whole world seemed to slow down, Adrenaline hit my brain and I easily dodged him and jumped onto the porch. Himitsu! She was in the kitchen cooking dinner.
Nico-kun?
Her big green eyes were looking at me in surprise. She was holding a knife in the air. The water in the pot was boiling, and oil was sizzling in the frying pan. The sound of Ito's steps from behind made me come to my senses. We need to go. Hurry. You little shit! Ryunosuke-san stormed into the house next to me and grabbed me by the collar. Get out of here!
Dad!
Himitsu shouted and ran to us. I flew at him and caught him on the cheekbone. Ooh! Ryunosuke-san threw me through the door as hard as he could, and I slid along the corridor, painfully smashing my back on a corner.
Dad, stop!
Himitsu, go to your room.
Dad!
This bastard will never set foot in my house again.
Nico-kun?
She tried to come close to me, but her father grabbed her firmly by the arm. You know what you need to do. Now get out! Get out of here! Ito howled in a voice not his own. I shifted my eyes to Himitsu. She was trying to break free, but somehow sluggishly, as if carried by inertia. What was I supposed to do? Get into a fight with an enemy who was probably stronger than me? Yes. Turn tail and run? Yes. With difficulty, I stood up on my feet, sharp pain hitting me in the lower back. Bring the documents and we will continue this conversation, he said in a calmer tone. It's unbelievable how a single person could combine such a strong dislike of me with an absolute loyalty to his job.
Nico-kun?
Himitsu prattled powerlessly, completely ceasing to resist. I'll come back for you, I promise, I said with anguish, cast a last glance at her, and walked outside. Everything was against me here. I couldn't take her with me by force, and could do nothing to oppose Ito, which meant I had to retreat. At least for a time, to heal my wounds, restore my strength, and come up with a plan. Himitsu's crying face seemed to have been burned onto the inside of my eyelids. Every time I closed my eyes, it haunted me. Beaten, humiliated, and desperate, I was barely forcing myself to drag my feet. My back felt like it was pierced by thousands of little needles every time I moved. I leaned against the light a couple 100 meters from my house. Fucking chaps, Jesus, I hissed in Russian. The old lady looked at me with distrust. It was the same look my classmates had given me after I fought with Catherine at school. What was holding me here, in this country? Even the KGB, it was more of mine, of my homeland. Surprisingly, having lived in Japan for 10 years, I felt no more Japanese than when I had come here as a little child. I got used to the country, yes, but the animal that is a human being can get used to anything. However, getting used to and accepting something are not one and the same. I managed to massage my back a bit and started thinking about what to do next. I definitely couldn't go home. Someone was there. If it was Mrs. Winters, I didn't have the thing she was looking for. So I had only one destination left. Kyosuke's place again. Oh, goddamn, poor Kyosuke. I thought I was going to go to the bartender. I had read somewhere that real friendship does not come easily. It requires continuous effort. That would mean I was really lucky to have him. Hello? I called Kyosuke from the nearest telephone box. Hi, it's me. I need a place to stay for the night. He didn't reply right away, clearly thinking about something. Okay. Thanks. I'll be there in half an hour. Precisely 30 minutes later, I was lying spread out like a starfish in the middle of his room. Do you have an ointment for bruises? What happened to you? Hit my back. You hit it, or did someone else? What's the difference? Won't hurt any less either way. I'll look for something. I walked out of the room and I started to contemplate his truly tremendous collection of manga. Some of the names looked familiar, while others meant nothing to me. Kyosuke met me without much enthusiasm, I'd even say coldly. Apparently he was tired of me constantly omitting and concealing things. If I kept at it, next time I'd probably have to sleep on the street. I covered my back with a double layer of ointment and soon felt much better. Often it's enough to just feel better, and then you're happy. It happens after a hangover as well as after disease. That was a nightmare. Nick, are you going to tell me what's happening with you? He sat behind the table and gave me a demanding look. The situation is getting worse, I began carefully. Himitsu's father and Catherine's mother are involved. Himitsu-chan? What kind of nonsense is that? I wish it was. He works for Japanese intelligence and had been spying on my parents, and now on me. A nice inheritance, I smirked. Catherine's mother needs some documents from me that I don't have. He didn't need to know about the papers Ichinose had handed over to me. So that's it. Everyone is demanding something from me, and nobody cares what I want. What are you going to do? Well, first, I closed my eyes and took a deep breath as if trying to ventilate my head. I need to get Himitsu out of that house. Are you sure that's the right decision? Kyosuke looked unusually serious. I'm not saying she's better off in there, but she'll at least be safer. Safer with the person who used his own daughter as bait? He lowered his eyes and didn't reply. Maybe there's some truth to his words, but I'd already gone too far to stop and retreat. Most likely, it was beyond my power at the moment to provide Himitsu with the life she deserved. But would it really be better for her to remain at the mercy of a person like Ito? Occasionally, I considered myself a sociopath, but then what did that make him? Neglecting some social rules, I at least honored family ties and put love above abstract national interests. It's already proven that no one can feel safe around him. Heck, even if it works out, have you even thought about what comes next? Where are you going to live, and how? I prefer to handle problems as they come. A flicker of annoyance crossed Kyosuke's face, but he didn't say anything. Look, I'm grateful, I really am, for everything. Not only for this, but for all the years of our friendship. I'm not really good at giving speeches, you know what I mean. My voice indeed sounded unnatural. And? What? After this speech, you're definitely going to ask me for something. I let all the air out of my lungs. Yeah, I could use money, as much as you can give. I will give it back one day. Damn, we live in an age of advanced capitalism and yet can't buy the most important thing. Happiness, love, health, even freedom. Maybe it's a matter of price. How much would you give for Himitsu-chan's life? He asked without a hint of irony and squinted. You don't have that much. Right you are. Kyosuke replied good-naturedly, stood up grunting, removed a few volumes of manga from the upper shelf, took out a small plastic bag from the stash. That's all I have. He handed it to me. I slowly counted the money, around 100,000 yen. Not that bad for the first while. It'd even be enough to rent a 60-tammy room somewhere far from Tokyo. Now here for life. Come on now. He got embarrassed. We may not see each other again. My friend even sobbed. I continued right away so as not to catch his sentimentality. I must take Himitsu away from there. Kyosuke didn't reply for a while, but eventually smiled and said, Just when my mom was excited, we were planning a brainstorm for our studies. Brainstorm, got it? He leaned on the table and gave me one of those terrible grins and was clearly expecting I'd appreciate his resourcefulness. A brainstorm, got it. I didn't get it. I couldn't remember the last time I had waited for night to come with such anticipation. In order to pass time, I actually did homework with him, and again noticed how bad my friend was at his studies. He that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. Alright, I gotta go. Good luck. I'll need it. Nah, Kyosuke's such a homie. Neighbors used to tell us that merely 10 or 20 years ago, nobody would lock the doors of their houses in our district. They're most likely making it up, but the fences that separated the plots of land served decorative purpose, if any, and the gates were indeed often left open. Well, this wasn't the most criminogenic of Tokyo districts. I watched Himitsu's house from behind the corner for a while, but noticed no movement. Maybe the KGB and the corporation were keeping my house under surveillance, but would they be spying on Ito? I turned up the collar of the jacket that I had providently borrowed from Kyosuke and started to slowly walk towards the house. A cap with an emblem of a baseball team and a jacket that was clearly too big for me. Could I have chosen a more idiotic outfit? However, this disproportional image of a city doofus was exactly the thing that was making me feel somewhat confident. Keeping my head low, I quickly darted to Himitsu's yard, walked around the house, and hid in the garden. When we were little, she used to get out of her room by climbing down the drain pipe and jumping off the shed. Grabbed a pebble from the ground and threw it out the window. It made a dull thud, just enough for Himitsu to hear. After some time, she looked out the window. I waved my hands, but Himitsu just turned her head back and forth and closed the curtains. So I had to throw a larger rock. Himitsu! Only it was possible to shout in a whisper. Finally, she noticed me.
Nico.
I put my finger to my lips and hissed. Shh, shh. Himitsu understood and went quiet. I waved my hand, indicating that she should get down. She hesitated for a bit, then arduously climbed out the window and wrapped her arms around the pipe as if it were a lifeline. I instantly felt that something was off, and I was right. Himitsu tried to climb down the pipe, but immediately fell off. I prudently came closer and caught her in my arms. I wouldn't say it was easy, but Himitsu probably weighed no more than 50 kilograms, so I managed to hold her without falling to the grass.
Sorry.
She said silently when she came to her senses.
Used to be easier.
I think so. I put Himitsu to the ground. Your dad?
He fell asleep in front of the TV.
Are you sure?
I am.
She pouted. Alright, we need to go.
Where?
Somewhere far away from here.
Nico-kun, I can't.
Himitsu lowered her eyes apologetically. What now?
Where would we go? It's silly and childish.
So you think that staying here is very smart? Have you already forgotten what he did this afternoon?
I understand. I'm not condoning it, but we should find another solution. Maybe we could talk.
Talk? I almost shouted. I tried. That's why I came to you today. Because... Nah, screw it. Because Catherine's mother had been waiting for me at home and she threatened me.
Her again?
Himitsu frowned. It's not about Catherine, it's about her mother. She, as you know, is supposed to be an American diplomat, but in reality, I don't know who she really is. In any case, she wants documents that I don't have. It doesn't even matter what she needs. What matters is that I was in real danger and came to your father because I had no one else to turn to, and you know what happened next. After all that, you're suggesting I talk to him again? She wasn't replying, just methodically picking at the earth with the tip of her shoe. Come on, Himitsu, this isn't a joke. Who knows what'll get into his head next?
Nikko-kun, he's still my father. You don't think that...
I don't know what to think.
Fine.
She raised her tearful eyes to me.
I'll talk to him, and if it doesn't work out...
But...
Don't worry. Everything will be alright.
She stood on her tiptoes and kissed me. My intense desire to prove that I was right evaporated at once.
Tomorrow, I'll drop by.
I'm staying at Kyosuke's place. It's too dangerous at home.
Then I'll call him.
I looked at Himitsu closely, but just couldn't figure out what to do. But she looked unexpectedly confident, and her big, green, unblinking eyes seemed to be looking right into my soul. Do you know his phone number? I finally gave up inside.
Of course.
Well then, I wanted to say be careful, but decided that it wouldn't sound appropriate in this situation. After all, she was home. I returned to Kyosuke's place after midnight. His mom looked sleepy and not too happy when opening the door, but seemed to believe that I had just forgotten an important notebook at home. Kyosuke wasn't really surprised by my return, but didn't comment on it, only saying a standard, I told you. The hard futon, the snoring right above my ear, and my own thoughts didn't let me fall asleep for a long while. Okay. God. See, that's the thing, the fact that Himitsu immediately snaps back into everything will be alright mode, like, I don't know. Part of me just like after Catherine snapped like that, I can't help but look at Himitsu sideways a bit like, what did you do, girl? What did you do? When you've just woken up and haven't opened your eyes yet, especially in those first few seconds, it might seem like while you were asleep someone carried you to another place. Usually there's a vague feeling of something being wrong, like a painting you look at every morning being slanted. It's only a few degrees off, but that's enough for you to notice the geometrical imperfection. Said wrongness doesn't have to be expressed in anything tangible. For example, it can also be the same white ceiling you stare at every time after you appear out of dreamland. The very sensation of something being not as it is should be enough. And that's exactly what I was feeling now. So I was in Kyosuke's room. The clock read 6 in the morning. My head was pounding as if a woodpecker were locked inside. Trying not to think about the pain and distract myself. What had happened yesterday? Himitsu, her father, that uninvited guest. It seemed strange that I had been afraid to enter my own house and retreated without any objection, like an old lion banished from its pride. That was exactly the reaction they had expected from me. Catherine's mother, because it proved that her threats had worked. Ito, because it left me with no choice but to give him non-existent documents. Maybe Irina, too. After all, I'd made an agreement for the same documents with her. And since then, I'd been behaving exactly the way they thought I would. I'm sure nobody expected any surprises from me, which meant that the idea came to me in a fraction of a second. Unstoppable, like a flash of a pulsar. Immense like intergalactic space, and unclear like the source of a wow signal. But in order to evaluate it and think it through, I'd need much more time. The terrible snoring reached me from the bed, wouldn't let me remain horizontal any longer, so I got up and walked to the restroom on my tiptoes. Is he gonna try to get them all to meet up in the same spot? He's gonna be like, yo, Ryunosuke, I got your documents, come to this spot. Hey, yo, Irina, I got your documents, come to this spot. Hey, yo, Ms. Winters, I got your documents, come to this spot. They're all gonna meet up in the same spot. He's gonna be like, alright, what the fuck's going on here? Kyosuke's mother had already woken up and was cooking breakfast. What a burden for this woman to take care of 2 fully grown brats. She'd definitely have something to talk about with Himitsu. These thoughts made me feel uncomfortable, and I mumbled awkwardly, Good morning. She just looked at me surprised and replied that she wasn't expecting us to get up so early. But Kyosuke wasn't even thinking about that. He was splattered unnaturally on his bed, and judging by the smirk on his face, was busy dreaming. Get up, I shouted in his ear. Ah! Kyosuke jumped out of bed and looked about in shock. What? I know what we need to do. Do? What? I need a car. Car? What car? Wake up already. It took a while before his cloudy eyes focused on me. Nick, come on. It's 6 a.m. I don't get up this early, even ever. It's a matter of life and death. Fine. Grumbled, got up with a grunt, put on his trousers and glasses, all the while scratching on his belly, which hung almost to his knees. Jeez. Rude. Ready to listen? Yeah, like I have a choice. So I came up with an idea on how to get out of the situation, and I need your help. At this stage, specifically, I need your car. Nick, today's only Wednesday. We still need to go to school. The hell do you mean school? It's a matter of life and death. From the look on Kyosuke's puffy face, I could see he was thinking it through. And how am I going to explain it to my mom? Leave it to me. I don't mean to doubt your resourcefulness, but let me remind you that school is basically your holy cow. Then we'll just say we need the car for school. Persuading his mom turned out to be a difficult task indeed. I lied shamelessly about going to a museum in a part of Tokyo with no trains or public transport. Thinking about it was weird someone like Kyosuke was trusted with a real car. The old Toyota was more or less his age, but still. As soon as he turned 18, Kyosuke passed his driving test and was solemnly given the key to the old lady. Although he didn't have that many places to go, so most of the time it gathered dust in their garage. I told you it'd be a piece of cake. I don't know, Nick. I told Kyosuke the details of my plan. Don't sweat it. Nobody's even going to see you. We'll just leg it out of there. Don't you mean wheel it? No, I meant leg. Never mind. I sighed. Anyway, if the dictionary had a definition of bad idea, it'd use your plan as an example. Do you have a better one? No.